If he is, he'll get the dead last cycling badge of shame and disqualification.
And we are back for another episode of Dead Last Cycling. And today's race started with some technical problems.
All right, here we go, fellas. Couldn't get my new mic to pair, so we're back to the old wired one. Sound might be a bit wooden. Hopefully my legs are not too wooden as well.
I was concerned my legs might be a bit wooden because this race was only a few days removed from testing my FTP, but I'd gambled on my setup anyway.
Gone with a bit of a bold strategy today. I've got the disc wheels on. It's a bit of a tale of two halves, this. The first third is hard. After that, it's chill. With the discs, if we can survive the first climb, we'll be at a bit of a very small advantage for the finish.
Whilst Jurassic Coast does feature some climbing, it's nearly all front-loaded and in the form of rolling terrain, meaning speeds are high, and if you're willing to suffer early, you'll almost certainly be recovered, at least mostly, for a bunch sprint where aero matters. And since we know my sprints have been pretty hit and miss, I wanted every little bit of advantage possible.
Gotta stay in the draft as much as possible and carry good momentum.
This section looks scary on the climb viewer, but with the constant descents keeping the pace up, and with this race being another big primetime group, it really wasn't any more testing than the usual psychotic start to a Zwift race.
Spend as little as possible to stay connected on this section, because the final part of Jurassic Coast's climb, whatever it's called, Titan Grove Reverse, is steady.
By steady, I meant that the proper climb was constant enough that maybe some people could make the difference and split the peloton.
The bear climbing a tree!
We've got bears climbing out of trees and later on dinosaurs. I'm really not sure who's picking these routes over at Zwift, but they're obviously not considering rider safety, but I had another technical problem to fix before the climb.
I've got the wrong playlist on. Right, music's fixed.
Music fixed, it was time to start the climb proper.
Alright, here we go. This is going to be the effort that kind of helps decide the race. We're only 6 minutes in. Look for people to go hard here. Climbers and punchers. I've got to look to split the group here.
This is a short climb and also very draftable, but you never know who is going to try what, so I wanted to make sure I was in a position to respond if the group start to move apart.
Got a guy off the front. Very long way though if he wants to stay away.
I really wasn't too concerned about a solo attacker, not with how big the peloton was and how much of the race was left, but having been burnt by Group 2 syndrome before, when I saw 3 more riders getting away, I decided to move up and jump across, which all things considered really didn't cost me very much.
Well, that guy's got 18 seconds, so unless he is a huge smurf, I can't see him holding us off, but you never know, he's doing 5.3 at the moment. Might be one of those Cat A boys that likes to massage their own ego after not racing for a few months.
Our attacker had a massive gap, but those kind of watts aren't anywhere near sustainable, at least not for an honest and upstanding Cat C rider, so I decided to settle in and recover on the back of my small group.
Probably better for us if the whole group comes back together. That guy's still pushing out 5 watts. It's kind of crazy. So a good chance he's just a loser. If he is, he'll get the dead last cycling badge of shame and disqualification.
I've said it before, but I really don't get the point of smurfing or cheating in Zwift races. A hollow accomplishment is not an accomplishment, but to each their own, and I settled into race as if we didn't have a rocket ship shooting off away from us.
Got a big dinosaur there. Prize in the comments of a heart and a like if you can identify what it is, because I have no idea. A couple of dinosaurs.
As we passed the latest distraction, the main group found their way back to our little breakaway, and I started to turn my attention towards the finish. We still had some climbing to do and we'd need to stay switched on, but the big selection point of the race was already behind us. I decided to hang on to my feather for the final sprint, which whilst not very steep, does have a slight uphill to it.
Not out of the woods yet, literally.
People were pushing the pace on these rolling kicks, but unless you switch off completely, it's very unlikely you're going to be dropped here. And gradually, as we ticked off one kick after another, we made it through to the second part of the descent and the race started to feel a bit like a group ride.
Let's roll through here if we can. I'm curious to see what that guy's got.
I was able to push through to the front with just a small squeeze on the pedals, and the questionable character from earlier was nowhere to be found on the timing sheet.
Maybe he dropped out. He must have dropped out. Must have realized that I was going to roast and toast, and he wouldn't be able to give it a big boast. So he said, I'm going to leave Jurassic Coast. Hey, look at that, boys. You didn't know I could rap, did you?
Don't worry, I won't give up the day job. Now that we didn't have Cheetah McGee to worry about, I was now even more keen to get ready for the bunch sprint.
Something I've noticed about these Zwift sprints, you seem to really be advantaged for going early. It's really hard to go over the top in Zwift, or it seems that way for me at least. So you can't get caught behind somebody. If somebody gets a gap, they'll usually be able to hang on.
Because Zwift doesn't have collision in sprints, you can build a huge speed advantage from the draft of the group and then shoot through the pack with nobody able to jump onto your wheel, which at least compared to sprinting in real life can really advantage you for going a little bit early, provided of course that you have the legs for it.
For everybody that was concerned about my cooling in the FTP test, I do have two big fans going. I got a huge tower fan and a vac master blasting me in the chest and face on full whack.
I was still carrying a bit of fatigue from that FTP test, as well as from other misadventures on the bike over the weekend, so I wasn't sure if I had a long sprint in me today, but I still wanted to give it a decent go.
Really got a cue in the sprint today. Don't put my weight too far forwards.
I do actually think I have decent neuromuscular potential for sprinting, at least relatively, but my technique and execution is often fairly awful. And whilst I can remind myself of cueing my weight and selecting a gear before a sprint, most of the time, when it comes to actually sprinting, all of that goes right out of the window. What I could probably do with is a DS yelling in my ear every pedal stroke to remind me of what to do.
That's interesting, people using their power-ups. People really hitting this one. That's a lot of people off the front.
I had fallen asleep and a reasonable group was getting off the front. Luckily, Ruo decided to push across and I was able to follow his wheel without spending too much energy. It was time to switch back on, shake out the legs and get myself ready for the finish. As I started to size up the competition, I realised we had a few friends of the channel in the group again.
Big Neat Kingma there, in the orange.
Alongside Neek, our friendly rival Mr. Fonseca was in the race again, so I knew we'd be in for a hard finish.
It's going to come down to two things, positioning and watts.
Things were starting to really heat up and one chap decided to make a very questionable bid for home.
Got a man going very long here.
Unlikely to work, but it did stretch the peloton out and we hurtled downhill closer and closer to the finish. This week I had done my homework, so I knew we'd have a downhill curve into a slight uphill drag and that it'd be important to carry the speed off that descent into the sprint.
Looks like he's tying up.
With the attacker caught, we only had 900 metres to go. It was time to get the elbows out and fight for position before launching a sprint. There was about 30 riders left in the bunch, but in a finish like this, numbers don't matter, you've just got to hit it with everything you've got.
Oh, chapeau, Gledison. I think you won it. Oh, second. Chapeau, Nick. That's a close one. We got a podium, though. We got a podium. That Smurf or whatever it was off the front obviously left.
I'm pretty happy with that third, and with two friends of the channel ahead of us in what might be the closest Zwift finish ever, we can pretty much claim a podium lockout between us. Sprint-wise, I think I probably undergeared a bit today and launched slightly too late, but it was an improvement on past efforts.
As always, chapeau to everyone that raced. Thanks for watching. If you could comment or like on the video, or even subscribe, I'd appreciate it. I'll see you all next week.